What happens when we get to a situation that is the opposite of happiness, when it causes pain or whatever? How do we deal with that? And the Tanya is going to break down the different challenges we have in life, both physical and spiritual, and analyze each one and say how you could remain besimcha even though you're going through these particular challenges, whether health challenges, parnasa challenges, nachat challenges, children, or spiritual challenges. A person succumbs to an avera and he feels bad about himself, he feels low, and that brings him to sadness. So how do we maintain our happiness in all these situations? So we left off saying that key is besimcha tachas Hashem besimcha. Besimcha or b'tuv levav v'yarav kol. It's in the middle of the. Where is it? Let's see. Yeah, the paragraph against the Eitzah use. That's where we left off. But right before then, we mentioned a pasuk that in the Torah, in the Torah, when it discusses all the punishments, it says this all comes about because we didn't serve Hashem b'simcha. Says the Rizal, well, Merav more than anything, that one has to be more besimcha than having everything in the world. Imagine winning the biggest lottery ticket, or you hit the jackpot. Your simcha has to be greater than that. So, how do we handle that? In the Eitzah Yehutza, the town Lona Mikol Nid Eitzav Nid Daga Menilu Yam. How do we get rid of the sadness, the depression of things in life, worries that come from children, health, parnasa? So he says like this: Udas Zois Lakol, Geshem Shavarach La Toiva. Just like we make a bracha on Toiv, Baruch HaToiv HaMeitiv, Kach Mevarach Al, so too we have to make a bracha on things which are not as openly revealed good or bad. U'Prisha b'Gemara, Yikabuli b'Simcha. That doesn't mean in the Gemara that just like we make a bracha on good things, we make a bracha on bad things, that we should say the same bracha. We don't say the same bracha. We say Tov HaMeitiv on good things, and we say Dainu Emes on bad things. Lasid Lavai will say Tov HaMeitiv everything. But right now we got two different brachas. So what does it mean in Gemara that we have to say the bracha on bad things like we say on good things? We don't. We say a different bracha. A person has a tragedy, he loses somebody, he says Baruch Dainu Emes. How does he feel that Gemara when he hears someone passed away, and that becomes an einin and an ovel? How does he make that bracha? How to do the same bracha? So Gemara asks that question, and it answers the kabuli b'simcha. You have to say that bracha b'simcha. Can you imagine that? You have to say the ovel has to say Baruch Dainu Emes with the same simcha as if he had great news in life. And we're going to see how to do that. How is that possible even? And I'll give you two stories in Chazal, and I'm going to tell you something now, tonight, that I gave a nickname for this part of the Perek. It's called the spiritual CPR. Those know CPR. This can change a person's whole life and ruchnis. It comes to a situation I had in my life once, and this Perek, these next few paragraphs, saved me. We'll see the power of it in a few minutes. We come across two Gemaras. One Gemara, everybody knows these Gemaras. We know that Rabbi Kiva used to say, Koman David Rachmanu the Tav. Whatever the Hashem does is for the good. He had a Rebbe. His Rebbe was Nachum Gamzu, and he said Gamzu Torah. What's the difference between the two situations? What's the difference between the Rebbe who said Gamzu Torah, this is also good, and Rabbi Kiva who said whatever happens is for the good? So let's see what the Gemara says. These two, this is the highlight of these, Rabbi Kiva and his Rebbe in their life. So Rabbi Kiva, the story was that once Rabbi Kiva was traveling and he came to a town and he wanted to lodge in that town and they didn't want to let him in or there was no room. So he said, Kol man davar rachman l'tav. He had to hang around in the mountains by himself. And he found a place to rest up, and he had with him a rooster to wake him up in the morning. He had with him a donkey to carry his things, and he had a candle. Those three things. The wind came at night, blew out the candle, and that was the end of his life. A cat happened to stray by and ate up his chicken. So they said a chicken. Chicken and a donkey and a rooster. Rooster, a donkey, and a candle. So the cat came and ate up the rooster, and then a lion came and ate up the donkey. And after he lost all those three things, he said, "Kol man davar rachman l'tav." And at that very time, in the town that he wanted to lodge in, robbers and came and they destroyed the town. I said, "You see, all these things that happened to me, they were for the best. That I didn't end up in that town." That was Rabbi Akiva. The Rabbi Akiva had a different story. He said Gamzul Torah was a whole different madrega, actually a much higher madrega. In Rabbi Akiva's level, the things weren't good. He didn't have any light. He lost his donkey. He had to now go by foot, and didn't have a rooster. But it ended up, it saved his life, so that was okay. Rabbi Akiva, everything that happened to him, we say Gamzul Tov, this is good. Not that it will bring to good, this is good itself. One time they wanted to send the Chazal say, they wanted to send a present to the Caesar, to the king. They wanted someone to go present for the Jewish community this present so they could maintain a relationship. And they chose Nachum Ish Gamzu, because he was a Baal Moifis, Baal Nisim. They decided we're going to send him to go. And they gave him a full chest of gold and silver treasures and traveled to the palace. On the way, he stayed overnight in an inn, and some robbers came, and while he was sleeping, they took the chest, took out all the treasures, and they filled it up with dirt. And in the morning, he got up and he saw the chest was full of earth. The Gamzlo Tova. Continued on, went to the palace. At the entrance of the palace, they wanted to check what he's carrying. They opened up the chest, and they see it's full of dirt. And they told the king, the Jewish community is trying to make a fool out of you. They said they're coming with a present. They bring dirt. So the king said, "I want them and Nachum Ish Gamzu and all the people that came with him. I want them killed." But before they did that, Eliyahu came. He disguised himself as one of the king's people, advisors. And Eliyahu said, "Wait 1 second before you carry out the sentence. Maybe this earth is something special. You know, Avram Avinu, he fought off the kings, and he had this earth that he threw at them, and he wiped out 5 kingdoms. Maybe we have always trouble with one of our neighbors, Iran. Maybe we can take some of this off, and we could use it. We tried every which way, and it hasn't worked.
It's bunker buster.
Right. This is like bunker buster, and so let's try it." So the king said, "Okay." They tried it, and it worked. He was so happy that he kept all the earth and he filled it up with gold and silver, and he sent Nachum Ish Gamzu back. There, the actual thing which happened was good in itself. That's the high madrega. It wasn't in order to bring to good, but that's the union of good. Now, the Tanya is going to now explain how could it be when a person has a difficulty.
So
That-
I'm going to ask. I apologize for asking, but it came out through means the good happened through what ostensibly looks like.
We're going to get to that. Why it has camouflage is bad. Why can it be good the way it is? The $1 million question. We'll see that shortly.
There you go.
But before we get to that, we're going to see So that's what the Baal Tanya say right now. Let's go a little further and then I'll explain. Ki gamzu toivo rak shein niglis v'neres basa. It's not seen. When he saw that he opened up the chest that he didn't find the gold and silver, he should have been devastated right then. And that wasn't good. It wasn't revealed good. Why wasn't it revealed good? So the Baal Tanya gives a tremendous chiddush. Ki hu me'alma diskasya shel ma'al me'alma diskaya. Comes from a level of a lakus, from a level of kedusha that can't be revealed. That's much higher from the alma discussed from the hidden worlds that doesn't come out in the revealed words. Worlds shehu vavke b'shem avaya baruch hu. And the alma discussed is yudke. So let's give a hakdama to this. And this is going to be a tremendous insight because we're going to find in life. We found this guy who got released after 600 days. We just came back to America today. It was 600 days in the Gehenna, in the Alma Diskasya, but that's where they find the Gili Lakus, the highest. And we'll see why that is. But the first thing is, what is he talking about here? Vavke, Yudke. We learned in the beginning of Tanya, Yudke, Vavke represents the 10 spheres. With the whole structure of the Bria, the DNA of the world, the spiritual DNA of the world is made up of 10 spheres. Basically, it says in the Sefer Yetzirah that Hashem, Lama Beis, the Sivas Chachma, Baruch Olam. Hashem created the world with 32 paths of wisdom. What's the number 32? 22 letters of the Aleph Beis and the 10 spheres. The Aleph Beis builds up the Kli, and the Yud spheres builds up the Neshama. Everything life has two things. Beis and Bereshis. This world is a world of double. It's a double world. Love we'll get to Anoich Hashem again, it isn't one. It won't be a steer. But in this world, you have the physical world and you have the spiritual. That comes from two different places. The letters, just like the letters are the building blocks of words, and they package your thoughts. So they're like the kli, the vessel, you can convey what you're thinking. So too, in the Bria, Hashem created the letters of Aleph Beis. Hashem Shemayim Nasu, Baruch Kol Zvam. Hashem created the world, the physical world, with these letters, that created words. He created life, this and that. And then there's the neshama that keeps everything going. That comes from 10 spheres. That's the Yudke Vavke. Hashem Hashem, which is Machaya and Mahava and Mekayim, all the Elamas, maintains the worlds constantly. The 10 spheres represented by these 4 letters, because Yud is represented by Chachma. Chachma is a concept that hits you in your head. You can't define it. It's like a Yud. It has no dimension. Then that's Chachma. Bina is the Hey. Hey already has a length, a width, and dimensions. It expands it, and Orech and Rochev. It takes your concept and builds it up into something. That's Yudke, but that remains in your head. The Chachma Bina is usually in the head. Not everybody has Chachma Bina. Today we see the seam of the Golos coming out of every. We checked off every siman, and one of the simanim are that Mashiach Baba has a chadas. When they lose their das, or lose their brains, this we already accomplished. Not us, but we see in the world they lost that. But Yudke, the Chochmah Bina represents that's a person's private world, the hidden world. If he wants to bring it down, begin. So the Yudke of the Yudke Vavke represents the hidden part of Hashem, the Chochmah and the Bina. The Vavke represents the revealed part. The Vav is like it's like a ladder. It's an oirech. It goes from top down. Hashem now takes from his seichel, from your mind, and brings it down, and then it gets revealed in the hay. It represents the mouth where you speak, where it comes out. The hay mitzvah sapeh. The 22 letters are made up from the different 5 parts of the mouth, and the throat, and the teeth, and the lips, etc. That's the hay that comes out, and that creates the world. So the Yud-K represents the hidden part of the worlds, and the Vav-K represents the physical part of the worlds. Our Yisurim come from the Yud-K. Now Yud-K is camouflaged. Yud-K, things which come from Yud-K are hidden from us. Just like the word Tzimtzum, Hashem was Mitzamtzem, he held back himself, he hid himself to create the worlds. What did he hide? Tzimtzem is Tzadik Mem, Tzadik Mem. Tzadik Mem in the Atbash code, the Atbash Aleph is Tov is the first letter. You switch the last letter. The base for a shin. You go backwards. Each of the first 11 letters, you switch it. So it's Tzimtzem is Yud K Yud K. Hashem hid away the Yud K Yud K, and only we have a world of Vav K. Our job is to bring the Yud K to the Vav K. That's why we say the Shem Yichud, Kushabricha, Yachid Yud K, Vav K. Before every mitzvah, what does the mitzvah do? We take a physical object, we take a piece of bread, and we make a bracha on it. And we want to bring down the Ruchnis to our physical thing. We want to bring the Yud K to the Vav K. We create Hashem's name. Each time we do a mitzvah, a ma'aseh, tefillah, learning, whatever.
The Vav K is the hidden.
The Vav K is the physical world, represents the physical.
Vav K is revealed.
Yud K is the hidden.
So the pain is the Yud K or the Vav K? Let's keep cheshbon here. That's the cover.
But we'll see, not the pain. Not the episode. We'll see about pain is a little bit. Yud K, the source. Difficult circumstances come from the Yud K. We'll see in a minute.
All right, we're trying to keep cheshbon here.
So the Yud K comes from represents the hidden worlds, and Baal Tanya is telling us that Gamsul Tova, even though it's not revealed, that tells us if something happens in this world that it doesn't seem to be good, that means it's coming from, because Hashem is only Torah. Got to be coming from a higher place, from the hidden world where it doesn't appear to us and revealed. Why does it have to be hidden? Because he's going to bring a pasuk shortly. Shem Shemogin Avai Elokim. I'm jumping the gun somewhere here, but just like the sun, we can't be serve the sun without having a covering. It has to be covered. It has to be hidden so that we could be accepted. So too in this world we have Shem Shemogin. But we're going to use a few mashalim to understand what is this hidden world and revealed world. So, let's say you have a child and you have to train him, you have to educate him, you have to chastise him, you have to get him, keep him on his path. So sometimes you have to punish the child, and that may appear as on the child's level he thinks it's abuse. In the old days they used to potch the kid, they used to give him a hit. I don't know if they do that anymore. Today, once upon a time, a little kid would get something, scream at him, whatever it may be. But deep down, it's coming from the kindness of the parents. If they let the kid do whatever he wants, they're not doing him any good. It's really deeper kindness. But it's not appreciated by the child. The child doesn't see it that way. He just sees he's getting punished. He wants this and he can't get it, so he's upset. But the kindness comes from the parents, and it's hidden to him. So too, when Hashem does kindness to the world on His level of Alma Diskasya, it comes down in this world in a difficult circumstance. Now, the $1 million question that I think Shom you were asking is, why in the world do we need pain and Yisur in Olam Hazeh? You think about all the difficulties, all the sorrows that people have, and because it should know something to have a situation. So someone a child goes through a challenge and a health challenge, whatever else, and the parent is devastated. And you think about it, Hashem is our Avinu Shema Shemayim. All of us are like His Ben Yachid. How in the world can He manage handling all the suffering? He feels it more than us. How does He do it? How does He handle it? It's unbelievable.
Another question.
But
That's another question.
But the biggest question is the $1 million question. So we know that Aliyah, you read the L'Sarach Aliyah, and we go through the challenges, we'll end up much better afterwards. That's all wonderful, very nice in writing, in the books. We need to go through a challenge, we can grow to a high level. But who says we need that rule? Hashem is Kol Yachol, He can create anything. Why did He make a world that we have to go through Yisur to get to our goal? Why did He make it like Gan Eden, just everything happy all along? He could have given us the Aliyah. What?
He did.
What?
He did.
But we don't see it.
No, I'm saying He did make a world of Gan Eden. We just exited.
We did it for, that's a whole different story. We did it L'Shem Shemayim. It was L'Shem Shemayim, because I don't we should realize that in the Gan Eden world there's nothing what to do. We wanted the world of Avodah. But we'll see, it's not for now. The point is that, bottom line is, the world is full of, there's a lot of suffering in this world. If you take a poll, most people are not happy. Most people are complaining. And most people, there's tragedy. You just look at the pictures, and don't know, except for one picture, which they sent today, some guy playing piano was singing that Hashem loves us, sitting in a room which was destroyed by the rocket. You know, that's Mikam Yisrael. But Hashem is a Kol Yachol. Why did He make this thing? Why did He give us challenges, health challenges, life challenges? Why? Couldn't He create the world in a different way? So the Rebbe once explained it. He said in 1983, he said a sikha, how do we, actually said it with tears. He was crying when he said this particular hesper. It was a tremendous chiddush. I didn't hear it, I just saw it in writing, but I wanted to try to somehow listen to it. It's on Hoshana Rabbah, Tavshin Mem Daled. And he says that Hashem can't allow us to understand the Golus. He cannot, of course He can do anything, but He does not want us to understand the world that we're living in right now. Because then we would never beg for the Gula. We would never want or yearn for the Gula. We would be happy where we were. He deliberately made the world incomprehensible to a human being, so we shouldn't settle in and be happy with what we're in the world that we're in right now. Torah is al pi seichel except for the Golus. Golus is the one thing that's totally not al pi seichel. Al pi seichel, we can't understand it. So we see that Tanya is telling us that a person has to be b'simcha, and the pains that he has is really coming from Alman discussion. It's a nice story. How does that change me? How does that help the situation? In fact, someone once asked the Radvaz. The Radvaz lived in the 1400s, and he wrote thousands and thousands of chuvas. Chuvas Radvaz. And someone once wrote about an Adam Gadol who lost a child and he didn't shed a tear because he realized, and you have to say, so he accepted it without shedding a tear. And Radvaz, and he wrote it to the Radvaz, is that the level we're supposed to strive to be? Radvaz says, Chas v'shalom, that's the Muslim way. That's the way of the Arabs. But when a Jew has a loss, there's pain. There's laws of Avelis. He has to cry. Gimel Yom Lebechi. You have to cry for 3 days. You have to have Avelis, different stages, 7, 30, 12 months. There's a system. We're not saying that a person shouldn't have those feelings. Gamzul Tova doesn't change those feelings. So what is Gamzul Tova or Komandam Rahman al-Tavavid if we're having pain when something happens to us? How does it all work? So they bring down think of two scenarios. Imagine a lady gets into a car and she gets into an accident and she's on the way to the airport to catch a plane to her sister's wedding, and on the way they get into an accident, breaks a leg, ends up in the hospital, misses the plane, misses the wedding. One scenario. I'm sorry. She misses the plane, but the plane crashes. Okay? She's lying in the hospital with a broken foot, but the plane crashed. Another lady is on the way. She's a dancer, and she's about to go to a performance. She gets into that accident, breaks her leg, and that's the end of her career for life. Two people, they both have the same pain. They're both sitting in the hospital, one next to the other, and they're lying up over there. The pain is not there. They can't sleep from the pain. But the person number one has a big smile on their face. And the second person can't handle it. Her whole life is devastated. What's the difference between the two? There's a physical pain and there's a pain and a spiritual pain. Physical pain is the same. Not going to help because it comes to time from today to tomorrow. The pain is there. It's supposed to be there. If it's not there, the person's not sensitive, you got to go to a psychiatrist. Pain is there for a reason. But when one has the other kind of the lady who lost her career, she's going to have a lot of questions. She's going to be bothered by the injustice, by the guilt. This drunken driver that ran into her, and she ended up breaking her leg and losing her life. Said, "Why did I do? Why did I do to deserve this?" And she started to ask all sorts of questions. And those questions, the questions where we challenge Hashem, we argue that it shouldn't have happened to us, and it's not fear, or we did something stupid and we feel guilty about it, and we're hard on ourselves. That goes away with the Gamzul Tova and Komador Rahman Tava. These ideas that Chazal teach us take away that pain totally. Just like the lady who missed that plane which crashed has that pain, but she has no question to Hashem why he did it. She's dancing, she's singing, oh Hashem, he saved my life. It's all an attitude to understand, because when we have questions like why and what if and tinus against Hashem, then that's the greatest type of pain that we have. We have the right hashkafa, and he knows nothing is at random. Whatever happened, when you see the bigger picture, it's all good. That brings a certain level of tranquility that saves that saves the person. Now,
The duration being that I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
What?
you go.
Go, I've spoken.
No, I have a two-part question. So how does that go back to the situation with the guy whose kid passed away? Where
Right.
does that fall under more of the breaking the arm or more of the questioning?
that's questioning.
So then it almost sounds like that would go away. That isn't.
No, it's not. No, so let's say we see the scenario in a certain level, in a bigger picture, and there's something called Gilgulim. And this neshama can't come in to fix something, and you give it a certain amount of years.
But
and-
still, you still feel the pain.
Yes, yes,
So then
the pain.
that leads to my second question. This is going to be a very specific question. Let's say when Avram Avinu was
Yeah.
doing the Akedah,
Yes.
was he in pain but he did it anyway? Or was it not pain because he saw the ultimate good?
So over there, probably, you can't say that he didn't have any pain.
Right. That was the Nisayon, maybe.
And to the extent that Sarah Imenu
Right.
died from that pain. Right? So when she heard the news, that took her life. But nevertheless, when you see Gila Lukus, I'll tell you a story. BDD Hava Uvda happened to me. I was probably younger than most of you guys, and we had a fifth child. I had a SIDS, you know what the SIDS is. Child 30 days old, middle of Shabbos morning, I get up and she's not around. And it was devastating. We didn't even know, we were very young. We didn't even know, it's just one thing, something which is totally not explainable, and we were in shock. And I remember sitting Shiva, the 30th day, that we felt a closeness to Hashem that we never felt before in our life. I'm not making this up. It really saved us. I actually learned that Chelik of Tanya Shir way back then. And this Perek was the CPR. I said it's called the CPR Perek. We realized this came from Alma Discassia because there's no logic, child was healthy, everything was fine, and all of a sudden, goodbye. There's no explanation. And they still don't have an explanation. That comes from Alma Discassia. And I can't tell in my life, the closest that we felt at that time was greater than anything that I went through in life to this day. Okay, but Alma Discassia. Was there pain? There was, but it was totally, mitigated with this knowledge, with this information that we realized, we felt the bunch there. We don't have all the answers, we don't understand why, but knowing that alone was a tremendous Yeshua. I can't explain it. No one should know through the situation to try to understand it.
Okay.
We are, nevertheless, although we can't ask questions on the past, we have an obligation to demand of Hashem that we want everything good, begilui. We're not interested in a good behelim and stories. That's why in Rosh Hashanah we wish everybody Shana Tova, and we add a word of Masuka. We want good, We want it sweet, like candy. We want to taste the good. We don't want to try to figure it out with Perek Chavav in the Tanya. We want a good that's revealed, that's open, that's clear. And that we could demand of Hashem. We can insist. And say, listen, you have not your cheshbonis, it's wonderful. Alma Discassia, it's very good. But you know what? We're obligated to ask for the best. But if something does happen, we can't look back. Because once a person judges or feels that he's misjudged or it's injustice, why did this happen to me? What person has mapola in his business, or he goes to the doctor and all of a sudden they find something. If he starts asking questions, what happens? In Shemayim, the Hashem has defenders. They defend Hashem. And the Malachim say, listen, this guy down here has complaints. You know, Hashem does everything perfect. So let's see now, maybe the guy has a point. Let's open up his books. Let's see where he's holding in life, what he's done, what he hasn't done, and see if it was justified what was given to him. We don't want books open. We don't want to ask any questions. We don't want to open up the dinam. Better not to ask anything, just accept it the way it is and finish. And then we go on, because otherwise it opens up to dinam. And the only way to do that is by following what it says here. Gamzul Tova, don't ask any questions. Remember we said once somebody reached a very old age, past 100, and it was not like Shai Islamo. It's told me that he said, I asked him, he said he attributed two things to his longevity. Ad Me'ev Chamishim, I don't want to say Me'ev Esrim. They asked for Moshe once, they also wished him on Me'ev Esrim. He said, why Me'ev Esrim? Why not more? It doesn't say anywhere. I had a relative who went beyond that, as far as 127.
My brother has the word yoter to that.
What?
My brother, he'll say like Ad Me'ev Esrim v'yoter.
What?
My brother will say Ad Me'ev Esrim v'yoter.
Oh,
he's like,
right.
why limit it?
Yeah, right, exactly. But the point is that they said he had schnapps and herring every morning. I was davening for 10 years in Queens. I took him every day to shul, my father, and after davening, everybody had herring and schnapps. That's not what one of the this lady explained that she lived very long because she was taught by her mother never to ask any questions to Hashem. Because if you ask questions, Hashem said, no problem. I'll take you upstairs. You'll get all the answers. All the answers up here, down here, no answers. You really want to know? Come up here. You'll see everything is clear. There's no issues anymore. So the best thing, don't even ask anything. Just take it the way it is, and we'll see shortly. The Baal Tanya is going to go Barichas, taking each thing on its own. Okay, children, health, panasa, averus. How in each item, how you're supposed to look at it to maintain. This is just we gave a general overview of Medera Klal, but eventually we'll see how we could utilize these things to maintain our simcha the whole time. Because the simcha is the ikar. That's the tachlis hakol be b'simcha. Avigdor Miller used to say, it's brought down in Setel Cotton in the Sidurim from Ramelech Milzhensk. Every morning people, or every week people say this tefillah, how one should always picture himself, a big fire, about to jump in, Al Kiddush Hashem. We should always ready for Kiddush Hashem. He said, today, the greatest Kiddush Hashem that a person could do, a frum person, is not to jump into the fire. It's fine to jump into the fire if you have to. But the best thing is to walk down the street with a smile on your face. To show that you're happy with how Hashem treats you. That's the greatest Kiddush Hashem we can give today. And we see that in all the studies that they make every year, that out of all the different people in the world and all the nations and religions, the ones that are most besimcha are the frum Jew. It's not to be believed. With all the tzaros that they live in, that's simcha, that's the tachlis of everything. And that's the ultimate Kiddush Hashem that we learn how to. We didn't get to there yet. We get to some of the details. Try to see if we can finish this Perek, or we'll go a little further. But first thing is to understand that the things which are coming from, that look bad, look difficult, are coming from the hidden parts of the world. So the Baal Tanya says like this. We said that the hidden part comes from the Yud Kei of the Shem Havaya, not the Vav Kei. And that explains the pasuk. Happy is the person who's being chastised by the Yud Kei, that he recognizes that his Yisurim, his difficulty in life, come from the UK, because it's much deeper. It doesn't come out, can't come out begilui in this world. Eventually, it will be in the next world, the shade will be lifted, and we'll see everything begilui. Those people in this world who go about and maintain their happiness, even when they're going through challenges, they get a promise. Those who love Hashem are like the shemesh that comes out from its sheath, from its helm. Because that level we can only reach through Yisur, through the hidden. It has to be hidden to get to that high madrega. And the reward then is to be zocher to a time that Hashem removes that levush. The levush of Yisur. The Yisur is like a levush, like a garment, like a concealment. It looks, the Tov is concealed, it's hidden. Like the shemesh is hidden from the physical world, like the sheath. We can't accept that light right now. And those who are close to Hashem, to them it's more precious, their relationship with Hashem, than all of Olam Hazeh. And when they recognize that the Yisurim come from the Alma Diskasya, then they no longer feel that levush, and they feel the connection, and that's therefore Lasud Lavai, they're going to be zocher to see the Yurkei Vavkei without levush, be able to get everything from the highest level.
If Rob is saying that when Yisurim happen, it should feel painful.
Yeah.
What does it mean then, Smeichim Yisurim?
Because that's just like that lady who was in the bed with the broken leg.
So Rob is saying she feels both at the same time, both the pain of the broken leg, but
One
also
is a
happiness.
physical pain.
That is.
One is a physical pain. One is a pain. It's a pain without any tightness. It's a pain without any complaints to Hashem. It's a complaint with thanks to Hashem. You have two parts
Well,
of
she
your
could
heart.
have
It
missed the
sounds
plane
very
without
strange.
breaking her leg.
What?
She could have missed the plane without breaking her leg.
Yeah, but so obviously there's more
So
to the
let's
picture.
take it. Let's go there.
The bottom line is that the heart has two parts to it. We have Lev Nishba, so we have to break up the heart. The heart has the part of the ear and the dam. The Zohar says the person can be simcha b'tchiyah no, or b'chiyah b'chiyah no. A person can be happy in one part of his heart and sad. Can have pain and happiness. It's not a steer at the same time. You can have the pain, and at the same time you can still have the simcha in Hashem, appreciating the gamzul taiva.
So if we're using the analogy of the lady, that means that the simcha with Yisurim, it's really not exactly the same. Meaning, because with the lady, she knows exactly what the result
Right.
was,
Exactly.
whereas we can't know. But
Right.
that we would know that there is a result.
The
And that
gamzul
it would
taiva,
be-
exactly. The gamzul taiva, the person who's holding by gamzul taiva, recognizes that whether he doesn't see it, it's only coming from a higher, that's adarav. They come from a higher place, he doesn't see it. But the good is there as strong as ever. She happens to have seen it, coming from a lower level of simcha, that she was able to recognize it. The tachlis is to get to Hanistoris Hashem Elokeinu, to realize that the hidden parts are also not only also more. So we said three levels. There's command that it will be for good down the road. That's the loss of Rabbi Kiva. His Rebbe had a madrega gamzul tov that itself that happened bad. It looks like bad. It's really good right then and there. That earth was good. There's a high level too, but that only reached us lovely, where we say Od Hashem ki anaftabi. We will sing and thank Hashem for all the difficulties. That's the highest madrega, but that will only happen us lovely. Then they'll show us back our life, and we'll look back, turn the pages, and we'll say a song for each thing that happened to us. But that we can't get yet, because right now we're in the Helam world. Hashem wants it to be Helam, so we could ask for the Gula, and so that will be the ultimate level. So, where are we over here? So that's looks like Simcha mehava soy kivus Hashem yoser mikol chayil mazeh. What is the simcha? How does one have simcha when he has gamzul taiva? When he realize that he's getting even closer to Hashem, as I explained, you feel a certain closeness. There's no atheist in the foxhole. Over there, when you find Hashem, all of a sudden, there's mayor light in the neshama that's not explainable. That overcomes all the problems you have in life. It's like a light that dispels the darkness. Kiris Hashem, who b'yesa eis. This is the key. Kiris Hashem, the closest to Hashem, who b'yesa eis, umalin, greater, unbelievable, it's infinitely greater. Ba'am the skies in the hidden world. When you get up there, or in a matzav that things are hidden, is much greater, closer to Hashem. Why? So he gives a reason why. These three words is the key. Said every Masai Shabbos, Yoshev says Elyon. How many people know what that means? Yoshev, Hashem sits, B'Seiser, in something hidden at the Elyon, that's the highest madrega one can get to. Where just like the king, his greatest treasures are hidden away. They're hidden away, locked up in his safes, deep inside the palace. It's not open for everybody to see. The greatest treasures you hide away. So too, the greatest treasures, the greatest closer to Hashem, is hidden away in these difficult circumstances. Now, Afal Pekain, we have to ask for the good, Begili too, but that's the Messias. Ultimately, those who follow this way and learn how to deal with the issues of life, understanding that that when we have a hiccup in life, it's coming from Alma Discassia, and that should make a person feel even a greater closer to Hashem. Then it'll be Zochalos Lavai. Could say Hashem when the sun will come out from its sheath, come out from its brewer when it's holding it back. Shemesh Magin Havaya Lakim, which is Teva, will be removed. The concealment will be removed. You see, Secham and Ataka, the sun will come out of his sheath. It's hidden in this world. Love it, Tiskal and Kisui. There, the hidden will become revealed. And those who relied and felt it in the hidden way in this world will be zocher to have it in a revealed way. And they were sitting in the shadow of the Chachma Shu Bechinas Tzel, Play Arva Tov Niris. Those in Olam Hazeh, they sit by the Tzel HaChachma. Tzel, what does that mean? Tzel is a shadow. Shadow is the opposite of light. You have light and then you have a shadow. But when you have a shadow, B'Pnimis, there's a light over there. So too, Brahmas, everything in this world, all the Yisur in this world are really, they're good. And just we don't see it, we're not margish it now because we have, like they have, it's saying Yiddish, fleshig Augen. Fleshig Augen means fleshy eyes. Those tzaddikim that were able to refine their eyes and their bodies were able to see the light and everything. And ultimately we'll all be zoch to that. And that ends this part of the Perek, which basically focuses on difficulty. We were speaking till now about all the problems that we can have in physical world that cause Yisur. And we can go into detail in the next Perek or two on it also. There's another type of sorrows and sadness that comes from a spiritual accounting. A person feels that he let himself down. He succumbed to something that he shouldn't have, and he's upset about himself, and he feels bad. And we see that guy has to be b'simcha too, and we see how that happens. With Hashem the next time. We should be zeicha now. We're coming that we should. A yom gets a little chaparang because the yom comes the Laila, and Kedusha comes after the day. Today is a special day, Chav Gimel Sivan, where it says in Megillas Esther, this is the day that they send out all the wrote down all the bakashas, goes to the king. All the bakashas should be answered. We should be zeicha that in these days we come to Reim the Mitzorim, shortly the Chodesh of Tammuz, which has in it the 3 weeks, which ultimately will turn into the 21 days of the Reim Mitzorim will turn into 21 days of Yontiv. That's the number of days we have a year. This is the rise of Yontiv. Zoch to the Torah Nira Ba'anigla, and Shana Torah Masuka. And I don't know if we're going to have any more. I'm supposed to be going to Eretz Yisrael on Tuesday, But I told my wife we can go tomorrow. Bob's suitcases are packed already. Mr. Shon will go tomorrow, but if not, we're supposed to go Tuesday. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, if I don't see you, we're going to have a Chazak v'amatz. And B'simcha Tavim.
I heard from my Zucker.
Yeah.
That guy came and said he missed his flight. And so Zucker said it was, like I told you, his flight that you missed. He was upset about Rabbi missed his flight. That there